Deep down, you really know what you want to do, but you're just being distracted by society's different temptations. You've written down all your dreams and goals. You've written down all your interests. You've written down all your passions and desires. And you've spent hours on the internet reading different articles on the topic on how to really figure out who you want to be in life and what you want to do in life. And you've bought all the possible self-help books and you still don't know what you want to do in your life. Come closer. Let me tell you a secret. The only way to figure out what you want to do in your life is by doing. But how to figure out what you want to do? Well, in this video, I'll be diving deep into this question: how to figure out what you want to do in life. And make sure you watch this whole video, because I think this is going to be the only video on the internet that's actually going to give you an answer on this topic. I believe it's very valuable stuff I'm going to provide you here. Let's start with clearing out some very serious stuff about self-help books. Self-help books won't give you the answers. They might help you to get inspired, especially if you read a lot of biographies, or they might provide you some mental support, clarity, or answers on some questions, but they won't give you the answer on the question, what should you do? I've spent hours reading self-help books, hoping they will give me the answers black on white, but they didn't. It usually went like this. I see a book and it says, the title on the book says, find your true calling, find your passion, your purpose in life. And I get excited, I buy the book, I read it, and then I realize I got scammed. Not really, but like, rhetorically speaking, I got scammed, because it didn't provide me the answers I wanted to get. It did provide me inspiration, some new thoughts, some ideas, food for thought, but it did not give me the straight answer on what should I do. And then I realized, you know what? I need to stop this. I need to stop wasting my time on reading these self-help books, and I need to start actually living my life and trying things. I realized that's the only way to actually figure out your true passions and interests and what you enjoy in life and who you want to become. So my advice for you is to, instead of spending time reading all these self-help books, spending all your time on that, maybe start spending time on doing things that you actually want to do, like trying different things that you have on your list that you would want to do in your life. That will get you started, and that will bring you already far in your journey of figuring out who you are and what you want to do on this earth. Because that's the journey. Life is a journey. No one is born ready. No one is born like straight from the womb like a master. No, everyone has to go through their path in life in order to grow into someone. And the thing about this is that everyone's path is different. Someone becomes the true them, like someone grows into their true potential already at a very young age, and some people grow into their true potential only when they're 50. So it's very different, everyone's path. And that's also what you need to realize, because of course social media is pressuring us young people to have everything already when you're, I don't know, 5 years old. Joking. In your 20s, you're supposed to have everything figured out already, but you're not supposed to have things figured out in your 20s, and not really even in your 30s yet. Life just starts in your 30s, I feel, but that's a different topic. What I want to say is that in order to figure out who you want to be and what you want to do in your life, you need to go through the path, through the journey into growing into someone, into your true potential. But in order to grow into your true potential, you need to go through the path. You need to go through trial and error. You need to try different things. And along the way, you will also gain some experience. And that path and those experiences, that trial and error, will eventually make you the person you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do and what you want to do. Because it can also be that you don't even know yet what you want to do. And in order for you to figure out that, you need to move further on your path in order to come to that point where you find your interest. But you won't find it if you just stand still doing nothing. So it feels to me like in today's society, instead of trying to figure out your life and trying to like build something out of yourself, we 20 years olds are trying to perfect everything already, even though we're not even knowing what we're perfect thing yet. If you're in your 20s, you need to let go of that idea that you need to have everything figured out before you're 30. You need to let go of that idea that you need to be successful, that you need to have already achieved something, that you need to have a house or a good job or an amazing title in your job or whatever it is for you that is pressuring you. You need to let go of that pressure and just move in your own pace. You have plenty of time on this earth, and that time you're supposed to spend figuring out what makes you happy and what is your true potential. And what I mean by this sentence, the only way to figure out what you want to do in life is by doing, is literally by that you need to just try different things, and that will bring you closer to your true interests, because it's very different to imagine in your head what you would want to do, like the fantasies and everything, but when you actually start to do those things, you might realize that, hey, what the hell, I don't like this. This is not me, this doesn't feel right, I don't like this. And then some things you're like, this I really like, this really feels like me, this feels right. Trial and error. Only that way you can figure out what you want to do. I spent a lot of time just writing to my notebook, to my journal, all the things I would want to do. You know, like, no one's gonna do those things for you, and they're not gonna happen if you just write them to your journal. They actually need to be executed. It's really that simple. There is no secret sauce. This is not rocket science. It's as simple as that. Only way to figure out what you want to do in your life is by doing. Try everything. Try those things that you think that you would want to do in your life, and you will see what you actually want to do and what you don't want to do. Some of those things will bring you very far, and some of the things that you're gonna try will end very quick because you realize that you don't want it. And that is also a blessing, because you get away from that weight of things that you have on your list that you think you want to do in your life, and the list gets smaller and smaller, and your life also gets more defined. You get more clarity and focus in your life. When you first spend some hours, weeks, months, years, I don't know how long it will take for you, doing those things that you have on your list and figuring out what actually is your thing and what is not. Okay, I think by now the message is clear. It reached you, you understood me, but you still might be wondering, but girl, what ideas and interests are worth pursuing? Yeah, well, there are some tips that can help you to figure out what ideas are worth of pursuing, what interests are worth of pursuing. Because there are certain ways, some hacks that you can implement to help yourself to figure out which direction to move to. So here comes the tips, and let's start with your fantasy. What kind of life do you fantasize about? You for sure imagine your future self living a certain kind of life. I have to apologize for the light. It's changing constantly in the camera, but it's because of the weather being very undecisive today. It's either very sunny or either very cloudy. I'm very sorry if it's bothering you. Anyways, you for sure have quite a clear vision about your future life that you daydream about every day. In this fantasy, a dream or a vision or however you want to call it, you're probably visualizing the life you want to live. The job or a career you have, the house you live in, the kind of lifestyle you're living, the things you're doing, and so on. Well, that is your answer. That's what you're supposed to also do in your reality, or at least striving to it. And if you can dream about it, you can also make that happen. And then, by the way, at this point, it will be super cool if you will share your dreams in the comments, because I'm super interested in knowing, what do you dream about? Okay, the next tip is jealousy. Follow the feeling of jealousy. Jealousy is your guide in life, literally. So if something makes you feel jealous about something, that's the feeling you should be following. That's your answer. The feeling of jealousy is literally telling you what you want to do in life. And no, I'm not talking about guys now here. I'm talking about the topic of how to figure out what you want to do in life. Jealousy is so powerful feeling, but it can either be used destructively or productively. Destructive jealousy is when you give in to that feeling and you start hating on people. But when you use it productively, you actually listen to yourself and you're like, hey, I'm feeling jealous now, but why? And you start to question yourself, why are you feeling jealous? And from there, you probably get your answer. And what will differ you from a destructive person versus productive person is that a destructive person will try everything to destroy that other person. Whereas if you use the feeling productively, you will do everything in order to get yourself in that position as well and listen to that direction. It's easier to explain this in a form of an example. So deep down, you truly know what you want to do in life. There's for sure this certain thing or idea that you've been thinking for years, but you haven't been pursuing it for some reason. Did you find that? Did you find your desire? Good. Now we move on. Be prepared, this is the best part. Okay, so imagine that your old high school friend, with who you're not friends anymore, is doing this thing that you've been dreaming whole your life, or at least your whole conscious life. I get such a burning flames inside of me, like this burning feeling, this flame, like it's just burning inside of me. Are you feeling it too? That's the feeling of jealousy, baby, and if it's used wrong, it's extremely destructive. But if used right, it serves you as a guide in life. This is such a powerful exercise because it's literally giving you the answer on whether you should be doing that thing or not. Every time when you're like unsure about something, do this exercise and you figure out whether it's worth of pursuing or not. Okay, moving on. The next method is to ask yourself which things give you energy and power and which things suck it from you. Because in order to do something for a long term, for a long time, that must give you energy. It's not sustainable for the long term to do something that sucks all your energy and makes you feel miserable, right? And it's also kind of a sign for you that if some things give you a lot of energy, you really feel powerful and energetic after doing something, it really gives you a good mood, good feeling, then probably that's something you really truly enjoy. And when you truly enjoy something, other people also see it, so other people also wish it for you. And when other people wish you something, you're also most likely to become more successful in that. Then the next question to ask yourself is, who do you admire? You admire them for a reason. There is a theory going around that you admire certain people because you also have that potential in you, but it's just unrealized. So take a note on whom you admire on social media or in real life and write them down and start analyzing what do they do? What do they do in life? What's their job? And so on. And that's the direction you probably also need to go to. For example, for years I was admiring YouTubers. I was watching a lot of YouTube and vlogs when I was younger, and I always imagined and thought that it's so fun, it must be so fun to be a YouTuber. But I never started a YouTube for myself when I was younger for multiple different reasons. Until now, that I'm 25 years old, I started a YouTube channel and nothing has ever felt more right than this. So I actually gave in to my inner feeling and I decided to follow my admirations, desires, the jealousy, the action that gives me energy, and nothing has ever felt more right than doing this. Okay, the next tip is to dive deep into your core values. Figure out what are they. Your core values are base for your whole life. They tell so much about you. And the fact is that if you don't act upon your core values, if you don't live according to your core values, you will never have peace of mind. You'll never be satisfied and you'll have an unrestful feeling inside of you. And here is how you figure out your core values. I'm going to run through it very quickly. If you don't want to figure out your core values now, you can also skip to the next tip, which you can find in the timestamps. Go on Google and search for core values. And it will give you a result of all the possible core values. Okay, now you found all the existing core values. Go through them all and either circle around, write it down, copy and paste all the values that resonate with you, that you feel like connection. Do this, and after you've done this, you have to go through the list of values that you made for yourself, and then you have to make that list even smaller. You need to narrow that list to 5 values. So you need to pick 5 values that resonate with you the most. And here you go, you have your core values. Okay, the next question is to ask yourself, what thoughts are haunting you? They are haunting you for a reason. If there is a certain thought that haunts you and keeps coming back for maybe even years already and it just doesn't leave you alone, chances are that it's trying to tell you something. Maybe you should give that thought some room to grow and act on it. This is like an obsessive thought or idea that just doesn't give you peace of mind and doesn't leave you alone until you start acting on it. Let me give you an example again. You wake up in the morning and you go to work. You arrive to work and you have this unrestful feeling. You feel slightly unsatisfied, but you don't understand what's happening. Where does that feeling come from? You're drinking your coffee on a coffee break and the same freaking idea hits your head again. It was there yesterday, the day before, and it's there again. It just doesn't leave you alone. This thought is proposing you to start your own online course, to sell your knowledge, to help other people. You spend whole day working and this thought, idea is just not giving you peace. It's just not letting go. You might get rid of that idea for a while. When you come back home, you start journaling it away, but it doesn't take long that it's there again, haunting you. These are the ideas, the obsessive, haunting ideas and thoughts that you should maybe start listening to and taking them a little bit more seriously than you do, because they're trying to tell you something. Okay, this next tip might be a little bit tricky and a little bit philosophical even, I'd say. For some of you it might work, for some of you completely not. But I want you to imagine that you have only 10 years of life left to live. How would you want to spend those 10 years? What would you do? What would you want to achieve? How would you want to spend those last 10 years? I know that this is very tricky because for some of you it might be really hard to imagine that you have only 10 years left to live if you really don't. I know it's hard to imagine, so as I said in the beginning, for some of you it might really help, for some of you this trick doesn't help. But if it does help you, the trick behind this tip is that it gives you the sense of urgency. Like, okay, what if I really have only 10 years left to live? What would I want to do? How would I want to spend it? What do I want to achieve during those 10 years? So if this works for you, good for you. If it doesn't, we have plenty of other tips. And here comes the next one. Detach from comparison. Stopping comparing yourself with other people will set you free from all the distracting thoughts and allows you to completely and fully to focus on your journey only. The next question to ask yourself is, what do you dislike? Because very often we only focus on things what do we like. And rarely we give ourselves the question, what do we actually dislike? What is like things that we really absolutely don't like? So ask yourself, what do I dislike? This question gives you so much guidance on things what you should not do, because obviously there's so many things to do and so many things to try, but it's also good to have a list of things you absolutely don't want to try. Because when you have that list, you can maybe search for connections on the list of things you would want to do and see like, hey, but this thing that I want to do consists partly of this thing that I really much dislike. So maybe I shouldn't be doing that thing, you know? And also it gives you guidance where really not to go. So for example, if you really just absolutely hate numbers, maybe you shouldn't get yourself into the numbers game then. So it's also good to have the list of things you dislike. The next tip I have for you, and this is kind of an exercise, is to do a SWOT analysis of yourself. SWOT analysis is used in marketing. It consists of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Even though in marketing this is used for businesses, but I found this SWOT analysis to be extremely helpful in a personal life as well. How do you do it? So what you need to do is you need to figure out your strengths. You need to figure out your weaknesses. Then you need to, from those two, you need to find yourself opportunities. So from your strengths and your weaknesses, you conclude your opportunities and then threats for you. Okay, we've had many tips and I hope it's been valuable for you. But are you still with me? Because we have very little left, so bear with me. This tip is maybe the most radical tip I have for you, and it's about social media. I want you to delete social media for 1 month to reconnect with yourself. So everything, delete all the social media apps. YouTube, oh no, you won't be watching me for 1 month. But anyways, everything, seriously. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, everything. And leave only like WhatsApp and these message apps to keep contact with your friends, obviously. What will this do for you is this will allow you to build the connection with yourself again, like reconnect with yourself, because social media is so full of distractions. You might have a clear plan for yourself. You might actually know what you want to do with your life. And then you go on a social media app and you're like, oh, this girl is doing this and that guy is doing that. I want it also. And the thing is that you don't only want one thing, you want everything. So one girl is super successful travel influencer and she gets super nice travel deals, and the other girl is super successful fashion influencer and she gets free clothing, and the third girl is a digital nomad and she lives her life traveling and she's location independent. And you look at all of this and you're like, I want this and I want that and I want that also. And that makes you so confused, like you don't anymore know what you really want. That's why social media is bad. Those are the harms of social media, even though it has also many benefits, of course. But if you never really had a break from social media and you never like being conscious about it, then maybe consider deleting it for a while, so you maybe can build up the connection with yourself again, reconnect with yourself, and figure out what do you like. Because the ideas that are external will go away. In 1 month, you won't even be thinking about them. The thing why you keep thinking about them every day currently is because you use social media every day. So those thoughts are triggered every day because you see those lifestyles, those influencers, those people, those business people doing those things. But once you delete the social media for 1 month and you let your brain rest for 1 month from all this overflow of information, you will build up the connection back with yourself, and those thoughts that are external will go away, and the internal thoughts that are actually your own desires and thoughts will stay. And to make this social media detox even more powerful, I would recommend after this 1 month, once you've deleted the social media for 1 month and the 1 month has passed, to take your journal and write down your interests, your thoughts, all your dreams and goals, your desires. What do you now want to do? Has something changed? And I want you to write it very clear, because then when you again download social media back, you obviously after a while you will be having again distractions and distractive thoughts, and like what could take you away from your course. I want you to take your journal, open that page where you wrote all that down for yourself, and read it through again, so you keep yourself focused and you will avoid those distractions as much as possible. Ultimately, the one and only way to figure out what you really want to do in life is by trying and doing those things that you think you want to do in your life. And while you're trying and doing those things, along the way, the pieces of a puzzle will come together. However, these tips, exercises, questions, and hacks that I shared with you can help you to give you some direction, to figure out which direction to go to and which thoughts or interests or ideas are worth of pursuing. Deep down, you really know what you want to do, but you're just being distracted by society's different temptations. But you just have to go for it. And please share your dreams and desires in the comments. I'm super curious to know, what do you dream about? What do people dream about? Super curious about that. So please share it there. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you need to rewatch or go back to some parts, please do so, because this has been quite a lot in this video, and where you feel like you need some extra guidance, just come back to this video to get some guidance and help yourself out. And please, if you found this video valuable, give it a like, and if you want to level up your life and live to your full potential, please consider subscribing to my channel to start your journey towards your best life mentally and physically. If you're wondering what to watch next, here's a video that you might find interesting, and I thank you for watching this video, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.